From VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy,
Okay, now I don't do the jazz hands.
Good.
I'm not doing the jazz hands.
You should not.
But I'm
you
doing.
can hum along.
These are the Twinkie fingers.
No.
Aren't these Twinkie fingers?
No. Okay.
What are these?
We're having a good day. We're
Are
talking
these-
about Baylor.
are these
We've
cheer
got
fingers?
Dr. Good on. They're nothing for a boy.
I thought they were.
These
Well,
are
now
the
wait a
jazz
minute. Now
hands.
wait a minute. Now boys are cheerleaders.
Yeah, true, but they're usually holding the girls up for the stunts.
So, Dr.
Or
Be
is
Good,
that
good
for
morning.
a whole nother show?
Yeah, that's for a whole nother show. We've got Dr. Be Good joining us this morning.
Jam-packed show. Dr.
down
Good.
in Austin.
And what is she doing? She's in Austin
She's
advocating.
publicly advocating
We love
for
it.
education.
Putting her money where her mouth
She's
is,
a pub
as
ed
she
ad.
says.
So, we're going to jump right in with you, Dr. Be Good.
Yeah,
What's going on down in Austin?
I'm hashtagging that. Pub ed ad.
Yeah,
there we go.
So what you got going on down there? What are we advocating for? Who's meeting? What's happening?
Well, yesterday was Charter Lobby Day, and it's the first time that we've been allowed in, and so it was very interesting. There are big Army tents set up in I think it's the north side, the north entrance, and so we had to go in there because I had my vaccine card because I've been doubly vaccinated already. I was able to get the purple bracelet put on immediately.
Ooh.
Other people who were not doubly vaccinated had to do a self thing in their nose, and then it was tested, and they had to wait 15 minutes, and of course, most everybody had a positive. I didn't hear anybody, of course, that had a negative, but interesting way of getting into the Capitol now, and then you stand in line to go through the X-ray and the metal detector and all that. So it took. We were at the Capitol at 7:15 so that we could be there in time for the 8 o'clock start. So it's a little bit of time consuming to get into the Capitol these days.
So with all of that, go ahead.
What's interesting is if you have your concealed to carry, you can get in the faster line. So if you have a gun, you can get in faster.
God bless Texas.
There you go.
God bless Texas. There you go. So, Dr. Be Good, you guys met. Did you guys get to go around as groups and meet with certain legislators, or?
Well, it's a whole lot less glamorous than what one thinks, right? Watching your government at work, which JP, can be very tedious. And so we were in the pub ed hearing room, which now it's one of the auditoriums because they have to space you out, right? So the auditorium, it's a rigged room, but only half the people allowed in. And you sit there and you listen to each bill come up. Well, and I say that I had to register my feelings towards the bills, opposed or for, and then if I wanted to testify or not. And so you do that first before you go in the hearing room. And then they call up bills, and unfortunately, you don't know what order the bills are going to be in, and I don't know what the rationale is for that, except maybe it keeps people in their seats, and they're afraid to leave if they're supposed to testify. But they will call up the bill creator. So if I'm a legislator that has created a bill and it's come to hearing, I go up and I talk about my bill. I give it a quick summary, and then if anybody has registered to give a 2 minutes about it used to be 3, now it's down to 2 minutes opinion about the bill, yay or nay, then they're invited up in order. And so I was there from 8 to 12:30 listening to that. And then after that, at 2 o'clock, they went on recess to go to the floor to listen to some bill reading. And so I was able to go, I had packets of updated charter information because one of the things, and this was actually Jeff Leach who sort of opened my eyes. I've been palling around with Jeff Leach for many years. And when I say palling around, talking charter school and having him come out to the Plano location on several occasions. And yet, even as much as he and I have chatted about charter schools, he was confused about charter funding as recently as last semester, right? We were doing an online thing, and that sort of caught me off guard for a minute, and I went, wait a minute. I have to make it my duty to make sure that updated charter information gets in the hands of our legislators, because they're just so inundated with information that they're not retaining. And so
that's a good point. Well, Dr. Good, and he's come out to your campus along with a number of other elected officials who are in the state legislature working right now, and he's a big advocate. I mean, he speaks on behalf of charter schools, and your school in particular mentions the programs you've got there. I mean, he was there before the pandemic, and he was able to participate in some of the gardening stuff, and even got to take some fresh vegetables home to his family. So, I mean, we're talking about he's getting dirt, he's getting his hands dirty learning about it.
Now, that didn't sound almost good. It's like he's getting the dirt on the charters.
No, he's getting his hands dirty, as Dr. Good likes to talk about. You've got to roll your sleeves up and you've got to get into this. But they can't know everything, because then they've got to be an expert on every single topic. Well, you've got transportation, you've got healthcare, you've got mental health, you've got, a bajillion things.
Yeah, and so that was a good wake-up call for me, not to assume anything, and to because we had updated one-pagers on charter school funding, and we tried. The Charter School Association really tries to do graphic organizers that simplify a lot of the confusion that's out there. Like you will hear people say, charter schools make more money. They get more money per kid. Well, yes and no. And what the yes is we may get more state funding, but the ISDs then make more money on taxes. So in the long run, the ISDs actually get more money per child than we do. And so there's that. So now we have a graphic organizer that shows what buckets of money come from where.
Right.
And charters only get like one bucket of money versus 3 buckets of money to the ISD. So we try to bring these updated one-pagers to our legislators so that when they're hit with upcoming bills and there's charter opponents and charter proponents, they can at least refer to the information and trust me, the Charter Association is only going to use data from TEA, right? I mean, you would not want to be accused of using wonky data to uphold a charter fact, right? So it's all TEA based. So anyway, I went to 9 different legislators, Shahan, Noble, Leach, Paxton, and Naib, that's in the Mesquite School, Bob Hall. And so, just to say hello and to leave that updated. And so, that's what you do. That's how you, that's how you become alive, right? To your legislators. You go to the trouble of doing these things. And has it paid off? Well, I will tell you that the last legislative session, there were 40 tough bills on charters. There were 40 bills last legislative session that wanted to, in some way, minimize, hurt, diminish charters. This year, we're really fighting 2. And so I think that shows that we've made some inroads with our legislators, enough that they, and I saw some of this yesterday with a couple of the bills where people wanted to really talk poorly. And when I say talk poorly, really talk misinformation about charters. And a couple of our legislators, Dutton and Huberty, they were, and Dutton is a Democrat, and he's a huge charter proponent, even though it cost him points.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Election. But the charter opponents want to say that we don't serve the kids of color, poverty, and the irony is that the only number that is not higher is special ed, and it's only by a couple of points. We are higher. We serve higher African American, Hispanic, ESL, and poverty than the ISD. As a whole, we serve a larger percentage of those tougher to teach kids, except for the special ed, which again is only a couple of points, and that's an average. I know it. My Plano school at one point was 13% special ed. As we've grown, that has sort of diluted a little bit down to about 9 or something. So Plano is above the state average. Mesquite is about 7%. So it's good to have people who know the facts enough to be able to protect our kids, because that's what they're doing. They're protecting our kids and our families.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Dr. Good, we're going to let you
Great
run off to the
stuff.
Capitol and get
Have
ugly
fun.
with them.
Take some selfies.
No, don't have fun. Get ugly with these people. Grab them by their shirt collars and tell them, get busy, boys.
They love her there. Half of them watch her show on Sundays.
Well, no, and Representative Dutton's a good guy. I worked with him in fact, I had better reasonable dealings with him on education than I did Republicans.
Interesting.
And so
he's the third longest serving legislator. I heard that yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he's got a very soothing way.
yeah. So
Interesting. Well, go rock and roll. Kick some
All right, guys.
public ed butt.
woo, public ed butt.
Woo!
There you
Hashtag
go.
that.
All right. Well, Kathy, goodness gracious, who's this good-looking guy
All
you've
right.
got?
Well, we've got Rob Altman, who is with us again
Hey,
from
Rob, how you doing?
from the
Thanks for
Frisco
the coffee,
Veterans.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we're super excited to have Rob back. If everybody remembers, Rob was on our telethon we had for the veterans, and brought some folks with him, was able to talk about some really good stuff going on for our veterans in the community here in Frisco. And then we had mentioned, because you had a new website rolling out, some interesting things.
right.
And we said, hey, when you're ready to announce it to the world, come back on our show.
That's
so
right.
Rob's good with the follow through. And guess who we have in studio today, JP? We've got Rob Altman with the Frisco Veterans, among other things. Well, yes, we have Grogu.
Let's see. I want to see if Grogu is with Rob with us today. Let's see what Grogu says.
It's kind of like the Magic 8
Good
Ball.
luck here, Rob. Good luck.
I hope.
Oh, hey, there you
okay.
go.
That's
All right,
props
all
from
right.
Grogu.
Grogu says thumbs
And
up.
he's like, what all is this? Yeah, it's like we're trying to get all these sponsors, Buc-ee's, the O'Neill Law Firm, Grogu, and then this JP and I are having a little Peeps taste challenge at the end of the show.
My gosh, this is
Hot
awesome.
tamales.
I know,
I
yeah.
love hot tamales.
Okay, well,
There
you
you
may
go.
want to stick around for the
Okay.
entire hour.
There you
well,
go.
So tell us the good news.
So the great news is that the Frisco Veterans Advisory Committee has officially launched its website update. So and there is a great veteran story behind this, y'all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So COVID affected many people.
Absolutely. Oh,
It
yes, it
affected
did.
many people's employment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I have a friend through Scouts, no less, at a Little Elm Scout troop who was a Navy veteran. He left the Navy as a bosun's mate, 3rd class. He served his country and then came home and got involved with website development.
Right.
And then COVID hit him hard.
Oh, man.
And so we were talking to one of our com.home, one of our Air Force
Right.
veterans who does a lot of technology stuff.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, let's talk to Dave and see if he can help us with this website. Sure enough. And would y'all believe this is such a positive story? David Bolgiano and BolgianoDesign.com helped us out with our website refresh as an act of his community service. And it is beautiful. And he has gotten so many contracts as a result of that.
Oh, well,
so
good.
I
That's
am really excited.
awesome.
about
What's
that.
the company's name
Yeah,
again?
tell let's give him a plug again.
Bolgianodesign.com.
Now, I
And
know you brought a spelling with you.
Yes, sir, I did.
Can you please put that
I mean, I know.
after your time on the show? Can you please put that link in our
What
comments
happened
section?
to B&G Design?
yeah.
I mean, come on. This is,
I know, right? Well, that's a great name, and Dave's last
It
name
is.
is one
I
of
love
those
it.
that I'm going to keep him on my good side.
Oh,
y'all.
my
All
gosh.
right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
There's
like,
an
hey, how
auto
you
in there.
doing?
Yeah, there's an auto in there. Yeah.
Forget about
See,
it. Right?
See, but that's such a great story. That's somebody who's, even when times are tough, saying, you know what, I've got to spend my time doing something. I might as well give back.
Yeah,
and then
that's
in
right.
turn, guess what?
Yeah.
Tons of business.
Oh, it's
and we hope from
exciting.
the show and his name getting out there even more today with this new launch of the website, that he gets even more business, because
But you gotta be
that's
able to
what
spell
it's
his
all
name,
about.
though.
Yeah,
Which
and
we're
it's-
going to
So
put
how
that
do you
in the
do that?
comments
You
somewhere.
spell David's last name Bolgiano, and his website is bolgianodesign.com.
There you go. All right. So tell us some of the cool aspects of the website and what
Right.
people can go look for and what they can tap into. And
Sure. So if you go to friscoveterans.org,
And we're going to put that. I've got that, so I'm going to put that in
Okay, great.
in our site.
it just highlights real fast. You know, this committee was started by Mayor Maher Masso, but then when Mayor Jeff Cheney took over and the veterans were looking at him for guidance, he said, yeah, I want you, but I want you to go do stuff. I want you to go do positive stuff in the community. And so I was 5 chairmen later, and our chairperson now is Reg Frazier, and he's trying to, get through traffic to get here, at least say hi to y'all.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to love him. He's a good-looking man in a cowboy hat.
Well, there you go.
So we'll bring him on camera for the ladies.
That's exactly
for the ladies. There you go.
So we have basically we just highlighted, Frisco, Texas is working on leading the nation and defining what it means to be a veteran-ready city. And then we've got a couple of different tabs on our website where we highlight, news, what's happening, the VFW. One of our local veteran nonprofits and one of our partners just had this amazing Vietnam veterans welcome home ceremony, and so that would be on our news tab.
And I saw you on that. That was so moving, and I love all of the groups, all the veterans groups who are trying to do a redo for our Vietnam vets.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it is crucial. We've talked about this on the show. A dear friend of mine and JP's, Roger Boland, served in Vietnam, was there. He and his group were in his platoon. They were literally lived in the swamps for 12 weeks.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It was rough, and it was a miracle. They all came home, no major injuries, no deaths, which is a miracle in and of itself.
Right.
They were getting off the plane, and his best friend was hit with a Coke bottle in his head and ended up dying of a head injury.
Oh my gosh.
Because of the kind of horrific welcome home that happened. And so you hear stories like that, and what y'all did and what these other groups are doing is just, God love y'all for trying to get it right.
Well, I tell people when they say thank you for your service, I say you're welcome, or, never forget. But one thing I say most often is I was honored to do it, and you're worth it. And that's the whole point of service, is that we're all worth it. That's how our nation was designed.
Yes.
And that's why we're so passionate about public service. And I want to highlight one of the tabs in there is our partners section, and it'll show everybody from who we work with in Frisco, because really Frisco.
If I send this to you, Nathaniel, can you pull this website up for us? Because this is some great stuff. I'm going to send you a link.
So we've got so many people that work with us in the community, and one of the things that makes it special in Frisco and North Texas at large is how we partner together to love on people in the community.
Absolutely.
And I want to tell you about one group and 2 friends that I brought with me from Leadership Frisco 24. Now, I'm a Leadership Frisco 23 graduate, and we would joke and say that we were the longest class ever because of
we all were.
Right? But these folks over here that I want to tell you briefly about this next huge project that we're doing, they truly are the best class ever, because what they've raised in money, what they're doing to help the Frisco Veterans Advisory Committee with our Frisco Veterans Memorial Refresh. Now that park, y'all, over by Commons Park and Hope Park, that memorial is over 20 years old. Right. And I wanted to share the rest of my time with them so they could see. And then they can talk a little bit about. So they're bringing up the website, and here's our cowboy. Yeah, here's our good-looking cowboy. Hey, Rach, run over here real quick and just say hey to everybody. This is the new chairman of the Frisco Veterans Advisory Committee.
All right, thanks, Rob. Hey,
howdy,
good morning. Howdy, have a seat. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Hey, good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
How are y'all?
Is it early?
It is early. But you know what? It's never too early for an old military guy.
Isn't that
Amen.
the truth?
Amen. God bless y'all.
So we've got your website up.
Right.
Beautiful, by the way.
Just
compliments of Mr. Rob Altman and
Rob,
the team that put that together.
This is incredible.
Well, it's a whole lot of fun. Go over there to just look at Purple Heart recipients real quick. Frisco's a Purple Heart city. Let me get over here. I'm gonna stand
look
behind
at
you.
this. Yeah. Y'all share the mic.
So,
yeah.
No, that's fine. So just scroll down a little bit, if you would, sir. You can see some of our awesome veterans in the area. Dana Carroll, y'all, is 102 years old, served in World War II, Korean War, and has just done some great things. And he's still with us. And,
God bless him. That's awesome.
And so these are just some of the things. And then, Reg, I'll let you just say hey as the new chair, but then I was going to have Melanie and Brandon talk about the memorial. So, but if you go over to the memorial tab, let me get out of the way. The exciting news is coming soon, so that's our segue for them, for y'all.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Well, I'll tell you what. First and foremost, JP, Kathy, and the crew we've always been a big support for our veterans. In fact, yearly we will now host a Veterans Telethon. Last year we raised a great amount of money.
Over
for
20,000,
veterans.
like close to 30,000,
and so
for a veterans organization. So we're looking for another veterans organization for this upcoming November. So just saying.
So what's it like being the new chairman, and what do you see going forward with your committee in the city of Frisco?
Well, stepping into some large shoes to fill. Rob, he left no stone unturned. And really been appreciative of the Mayor Cheney and John Keating for affording me the opportunity to be the chair of this great committee in our city, within our city.
Well, and it's really important to point out the elected officials who get it and who are willing to step up and say, "Hey, this is important. Our veterans are everything." So you've got to, I'm glad y'all are giving credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
Those guys.
It is the sacrifice and unselflessness of those patriots that afford us the opportunity to be able to do what we do and continue to serve in and out of uniform. And for the patriots like you for creating a forum to give us a voice and allow us to continue to carry our message on.
Thank you. It's the least we can do. Thank you.
We have a lot of veterans here in Frisco.
Yeah.
And truth be told, not all veterans are gainfully employed. Or employed at a level where they're commensurate at what they served at. We have veterans who deal with homelessness.
Right.
Suicide is still a high rate. Those key pillars are always the focus on our committee, and continue reaching out and partnering with our fellow VSOs, the VFW, the American Legion, and the other organizations here, and connecting those dots so our veterans can have resources available to them. So when they come to our city, we can say, hey, here's a helping hand if you need it. And just a camaraderie for us to get back together.
Well, and God bless you for what you've done and what you continue to do. And we're going to continue to have you guys on. We need to have y'all on like every other month just to kind of talk about what's going on, or just a Zoom link in and say, hey, here's what we've got. Now, Frisco, y'all are class 24?
Yes.
Y'all want to come on over here?
Come on over.
We've got a couple of good-looking folks. We want to get there. We want to get them on screen too.
Thank you all.
my friend.
Don't take offense to what she just said.
Hey, you
We've
just
got a couple good-looking folks
it's
coming
hard
over.
to offend me.
Honey, you just got a whole nother demographic. Everybody's gonna be like, go to point 18 minutes in the broadcast. How are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Yeah, scoot that up a little bit. That way we get y'all both. Now y'all are with and I want to make sure we get. She's really pretty, so let's get her. Let's make Nathaniel make sure she's on camera.
She just has to squeeze over with him.
Well, so you guys
in.
are Frisco Leadership Frisco class 24.
Correct.
So
Not to be confused with 2024.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's way down the road.
Right.
That's when we're flying Jetson style. I don't know, right? I don't know.
That's only 3 years away, Kathy.
2024.
Yeah, we're at 20.
Oh yeah, we're 2021. God, no. But for classes, because that'd be like 2,000 classes later.
Oh, I see.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why don't we talk Memorial?
I'm a leadership Plano
let's talk
14.
Memorial. Yeah,
from the 90s.
Okay.
I'm
Nice.
old.
But you're young. But the memorial. So
God
what
bless
is
ya.
Leadership 24 doing?
Yeah, what are y'all
with
doing?
Your
How are y'all
partnership
helping?
with the memorial and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so as Rob mentioned earlier, the original memorial at Frisco Commons
Yes.
Park was built back in 2004, and then there was another refresh that was done in 2014.
Right.
But since then, there hasn't really been a lot done. So
I guess not. Yeah.
aesthetically,
And
there's
I've
some-
been out there for many events. A beautiful place to have events. But yeah, I guess you're right. Nothing. It's the same as it was a while back.
Correct. So, aesthetically, there were some things that need to be done
Okay.
around stonework and paving and some other pieces just to kind of beautify and refresh it.
Right.
So we're working on fundraising efforts to raise money for some of that, as well as try to bring the memorial into the digital age. So adding some QR codes
awesome.
that would actually
That's
lead
awesome.
folks to the new FVAC website, where we're going to have local veteran stories that we've actually been filming and working with some videographers, as well as to be able to tell a little bit more about the memorial, what it's
Love
about,
it.
and an interactive map so people understand when they come and visit to make sure that they don't miss any pieces of the memorial.
Yeah,
How do they contribute? How do people?
Oh yeah,
give?
yeah, that's a good question.
So we will make sure that we get you the link for
Oh, and
the
please do
contributions.
put it in our comment feed
Most
because
definitely,
we'll push
so we
that
are
for
still
y'all.
fundraising, definitely, and we do
Okay.
have a couple of events that we have coming up as well that are ways to potentially give and donate. And I don't know if you want to
I would
mention
say
those.
the best way to follow us and see what all we're doing and how to participate, how to donate. We're very close to our $50,000 goal.
Good
We're
for
very
y'all.
close. So we just need your help.
No
to push us
wonder
past
Rob's
there.
like, you have to have these two young leaders on.
And this is a huge project. So I say 50,000, but the CDC has also offered 50,000 more. So you're going to come on Memorial Day and see a totally different memorial. You're going to have a totally different experience with the digital aspects. We want your kids to come and learn about veterans from a young age.
So,
and so follow us on
I don't mean to get us back to money, but I'm going to bring us back to money.
But
Let's
he's
take it
going
back.
to.
Let's take it back to money. So how short are you? Tell the crew. Our crew is way good about filling in gaps.
Especially for veterans.
So
You know, I would say we have 42,000 in hand. We do have almost another 8,000 in commitments, but that we have not received quite yet. So
Okay.
I would say we're probably a few thousand.
So a couple
Okay.
$1,000 shot.
and so
50,000.
will y'all
So
take
how does somebody
$5
send
even?
money?
I mean,
Oh,
just
yeah.
any amount.
So
Any amount,
if
okay.
you follow us on Facebook or
Okay.
LinkedIn, there's a link to donate, or if you just reach out to us on there, it's Honor Our Veterans, and we
Honor
can give you
Our
that
Veterans.
link. Honor Our Veterans.
Nathaniel, will you put that in there, please, for me?
Yeah, we've
And
got to get all of this.
Honor Our
on there for
Veterans
y'all.
Leadership Frisco
Honor
24
Our Veterans
in
Leadership
Roman
Frisco.
numerals.
You want me to remember that?
Yeah, he's
Could
gonna
you
do
pick-
a link, right?
Could you pick a longer name?
Nathaniel's got
Well,
a young mind.
I mean, we
I'm
just-
old.
If you pop up Honor Our Veterans, it's gonna pop right up.
Oh, it
Okay.
will.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like,
And so you
could
follow
we
us
come up with a
there,
longer name?
and then you reach out there. We have an opportunity for people to do tax-deductible donations. We have an event on May 4th. It's
Okay.
going to be at Verona Villa. They've kindly offered the space to us. We have CoServe that's doing the
Is this
food.
Yes, that
Yes.
is correct.
All
Yep.
right.
And,
Join groups up and share.
Simmons Bank is sponsoring that event, and so it's all free food and drinks, and you'll hear from some veterans. You'll get to see some of the pieces that we're working on. So that event, and then of course Memorial Day. Come to the
So
memorial that's
May
here every year.
4th, what time?
May 4th, 5 to 7:30.
5 to 7:30.
Yes, in the evening.
Verona Village.
Verona Villa. It's right off
Villa.
of.
It's
literally
right off.
Yeah,
up-
we're right
it's a
next door.
stone's throw. I was just at a wedding there. It's
You got a
fabulous
you got a really
facility.
good arm, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even catch a roll of
I didn't
toilet
say you
paper or
could
throw
catch,
a roll.
but you can throw.
I can catch or throw. Well, the great thing is we've got Senator Paxton coming on right now, and so she'll be able to help promote this as well. This is fantastic. God bless y'all for what you're doing. And yeah, please, anytime we can push out information about your event onto our page, just let us know.
Well,
Will
we
do.
appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you for your
Thank
time.
y'all so
Really
much.
appreciate it.
You guys
Send the
rock.
email that
Rob,
It should be in
you're
that
awesome.
group. It should
Email
be
it
in
over
the
to the JP,
description.
Kathy, and the crew
Sure, we'll do
website,
that.
or not
Thank
website,
you so
but I mean
much.
the email.
This is great.
Because we'll throw it out there to everybody. Again, if you need about a couple $1,000s, I bet we could help raise
Let's
that.
get it
couple
today.
thousand.
Absolutely.
Yep, sounds good.
We're counting on you.
No
All
pressure
right.
to the
Thank
crew.
you so much for having us
Thank
here.
you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you
Rob.
so
Thank
much.
y'all so much. God
Thank
bless
Appreciate
you
y'all
guys.
dropping
Take
by.
care.
Rob,
Rob,
you're the
thanks for
best. We
bringing
love
them.
you. We'll see you again
Take care,
soon.
brother.
You're
Mwah.
awesome.
You
Appreciate
bet.
you
Let
so
us
much.
know what we got going on, all right?
Yes, sir. We'll
All
come
right.
back and talk again.
Thank
You bet.
you.
All right, so we should have Senator Paxton
We do.
joining
She's
us.
in the waiting room, so we're good to go. Thank you. That's all good stuff.
Good
That's all
morning,
good stuff.
Senator
Good
Paxton.
morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good. Sorry to keep you waiting. We've been packed with fun stuff today.
We had people talking about the Frisco Veterans Memorial. We had folks from the new
Leadership 24.
Yeah, Leadership 24. Frisco was just in here, and then Rob Altman from the Frisco Advisory Committee and the new chairman of that organization. Lots of great stuff going on for veterans in Frisco. So I know you're proud of that, being part of that with your constituency.
Well, I am, and I think you probably know my father-in-law was a Vietnam vet in the Air Force.
Yes.
My dad was Naval Reserves. My uncles were Navy. I've got a nephew in the Navy, and then of course I have a daughter that is in the Air Force, First Lieutenant Air Force. She's getting married to a guy that's in the Air Force, Special Forces guy this summer.
Oh,
And then
I
my
love
other
it.
daughter married to
married to a second lieutenant in the Army, and so I've got future veterans in my family as well. So that issue has taken on, just a real personal meaning for me.
Absolutely. Well, okay, I know we've got tons to talk about with what's going on in session, tons going on right now. But first of all, you are a Baylor alum, so sick 'em Bears. What do you think about your Baylor Bears?
Oh my gosh! First I'm going to do my vent, which is I think the women got robbed.
Amen.
Yes, they did.
Amen.
They did.
Because you should have had both the men and the women. I think.
Agree.
But anyway, what an amazing game! They came out. They were relentless and aggressive, and they were unstoppable. It was amazing.
Yeah, good stuff.
Defense pays.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Defense pays for sure.
We knew you'd be happy. After your segment, we're going to be talking about March Madness, so we just had to lead with that with you because we know you're a big old fan.
So, Senator Paxton, where are we at on the pro-life legislation that's been rolled out? And because we're talking about really leading pro-life legislation for this country. I'm hoping that this spills over to New York, and New York can get their head out of their butt on pro-life legislation.
Your lips to God's ears.
So how's it going down there?
Yeah.
Where are we at on that?
It's going well. In fact, I made kind of a list because I wanted to hit the high points for you guys before I've got to head out and get to committee this morning. But last week, I'll go back to last week. Last week on Monday, we passed out, I'm trying to remember now if it was 6 or 7 different very strong, significant pro-life bills that have been a long time coming, including 2 that were really important to me. The Human Life Protection Act, which I carried, which basically, should the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade, it would immediately, within 30 days, it would mirror that in Texas, that we would have a ban on abortion and we would save lives. No more lives lost to abortion with that trigger, basically. And then the Emma bill, the Every Mother Matters Act, which is to connect women seeking an abortion, 3 out of 4 of which we know say that if their circumstances were different, they'd carry the baby to term. Let's connect them with the resources that are available to them, and so they don't have to make a regrettable choice.
Absolutely.
But heartbeat bill also passed. There was an omnibus bill that passed. The non-discrimination abortion bill also passed. So that was all on Monday. On Tuesday, we also took up the election integrity bill, which was a huge bill, and also the social media censorship bill. All of that happened last week. We finished session at 2:30 in the morning, Thursday morning, before Easter. We got back yesterday, and so yesterday was our first day back. I know I had 4 bills that I laid out, 3 in committee and 1 on the floor that I passed. And yesterday in Business and Commerce, which is one of the committees I sit on, we heard 26 bills. And that just gives you a sense of the pace and kind of the process. And then we also heard last night until around 10, we heard about 5 hours of testimony in the local government committee, which most of that was focused on the banning taxpayer-funded lobbying bill.
Wow. You haven't been doing anything, right? Yeah, look, I love the smile. That was awesome.
I realized when I came in yesterday morning, Business and Commerce starts at 8. I went straight to the floor where we were holding committee, and I never really went to my office. All day yesterday, I was just going from committee to committee to session to committee. But that's kind of where we are. And John, you asked about where is the pro-life legislation. So we have sent all of that over to the House. I ran into some great advocates for pro-life legislation that were involved in some of my bills that I carried that were on their way over to the House today, and to be in committee and hear some of that as well. So, the important thing is that the closer we get to the end of session, the harder it is for things start piling up, right? And so it matters that we got our stuff over there early so that there's time for the process to work in the House so we can get a good bill out to the governor's desk at the end of session.
Absolutely. And the people who, the members of the crew who are watching, who will watch this, who are wondering, okay, I love what she's talking about. How do they help support that effort?
So right now, that is in the House. And so I would say what you need to be doing is you need to be contacting the chairman of State Affairs,
Okay.
which is where those bills are. Also, I've mentioned this a couple of times that you can follow legislation exactly where bills are online. And this morning when I was looking at it, it's www.capital.texas.gov. And when you go to that, you can also find there's actually a place where you can do this on a mobile device. And so if you go to that website, and I'm going to pull it up real quick, but while I'm doing that, so you can follow specific bills on pro-life and everything else. But that's the thing. When things are in committee, you need to be contacting the chair of the committee so that they'll hear the bill. You can definitely contact the committee members, and all of that is listed on the website on the capital.texas.gov. And so if you'll go there, you can follow the legislation. You can see when bills are posted to be heard. You can actually get notifications to be notified when something happens with a bill. But let your state representative know that you want them to support these bills. Contact the committee members and encourage them to support the bills. State Affairs is the main committee that all of the pro-life stuff will go through. And make sure you contact the committee chair. You can call, you can email. I think calls are great because they're very immediate, and people are tallying these things. That's what I have my office do, tally when people call or email and register their position on a bill.
So that makes a difference. You may think that an email, a phone call doesn't make a difference. It absolutely does, because those are statistics. Those are real people's voices being heard in Austin that you can highlight when you're up there arguing for or against good legislation, or against bad legislation, for good legislation. Let's say that.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually both matter. And sometimes it's kind of interesting. A lot of times people speak up about the things that they're against, and then they don't speak up for the things that they're for, because it's like, oh, that's good. That they're real vocal about the things they're against. And I would just say both of those matter, because sometimes, think about what happens if you get a lot of, like in my office, I get a lot of information about people against something, but nothing for. Well, it looks very one-sided, and that may not be true, right? So it matters to express both of those. Okay, I wanted to give you this mobile version. In your mobile browser, if you will enter www.TXLEGIS, that's short for Texas Legislature, TXLEGIS.com. If you do that,
and say that one more time. I'm typing it in so I can put it in there. That's okay.
www.TXLEGIS.com.
Yeah, it's Texas Leg or Legis.
Okay, got it.
Legis.
Oh my goodness! Here it's got session times, calendars, committee schedules. It's literally laid out for you. Bill lookup, chamber video, committee video. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I think if you're on your laptop or something, the capital.texas.gov is probably a better format. But if you're on a mobile device, I think this is just formatted better for a mobile device.
That's awesome. Another tool we can put in our toolbox.
Especially
the folks that may be up at down at the Capitol. You've got charter schools down there this week. Dr. Good said that she saw you on the floor yesterday, and thought that was cool.
Oh, well, we were on the floor for quite a while yesterday. I failed to mention what we were really working on yesterday also is we passed the budget. Senate Bill 1, which is the one thing we have to do. If we didn't do anything else, the one thing we're charged to do constitutionally is to pass a budget. And so I'm proud to say that we passed it out of the Senate 31 to nothing. It goes over to the House. Every session, it goes back and forth between who kind of takes the lead on the budget. Last session, it was the House they took the lead on the budget, and then we come in and work on ours with them. This time it was our turn as a Senate to take the lead on the budget, so it was a Senate bill this time. It is a conservative budget. It stays within our spending limits, which is actually quite miraculous given the economic conditions we've been under in the last year with COVID and everything else. But we were able to keep our commitment to fully funding public education, which was a priority for everyone. And then, we also know we did it without including the estimates on what we're going to get from the federal government with recovery money and, CARES Act kind of stuff, other money related to the disaster and the pandemic that are coming our way. So we built it without that. That's the Senate budget. We built it without those things so that we can use that. We're not building on what might happen, only what we know.
Excellent. Well, keep up the good work. We know you've got tons of work ahead of you, and we really appreciate your time on the show because this way we, the people, are able to let our voices be heard, and that's what this is all about. And we just appreciate you supporting that effort.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you guys so much, and love catching up with you every week. Thanks to all your listeners and viewers for staying in touch with what's happening and being great citizens. We've got great things coming, but I hope you use this tool to follow what's happening in the Senate. Let me know how I can help. We're trying to keep things on our Facebook, Angela Paxton TX. If you want to kind of like that, follow my Facebook page, and that we're trying to keep the more fast-paced, up to the minute updates there for everyone. But we appreciate you, and please keep praying for everyone that we will do what is good and what is right.
Absolutely.
And go Bears.
Go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears. And
Well, thank you so much for your time, Senator Paxton, and have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. Woo, there's
Good
stuff happening.
I mean, there's stuff
It's
locally,
everywhere.
there's stuff in Austin, there's stuff all over the place.
There's stuff right here, JP, Kathy, and the crew.
Woo. This is a jam-packed show.
I mean, well, okay, what does Grogu say?
Oh, let's see.
What does he
Well, that's-
approve? He says, "Get on with it, JP and Kathy."
He's like, I'm ready for the hot tamale challenge.
Yeah, he goes, "Let's go."
And I want to hear more about Baylor.
The Bears. So we've got our bracket up. Thank you for bringing that up, Nathaniel.
Oh, yes.
So, and Chambrielle will be back in. She had an emergency and had to fly to Florida.
Yeah, and we need to pray for her.
Pray for her.
She has lost a dear family member, and so want to make sure we keep Bree the intern in your prayers.
And I do want to take 5 minutes before we do this because I want to finish on a high note.
Yeah.
Faye Curtis, one of the crew members, asked me to please remind people that during this time that there are people out there that are willing to help. If you are in distress, if you are emotionally challenged right now, if your mental health is compromised, please do not take things into your own hands. And she was referring to what happened in Allen over the holiday weekend.
Oh my gosh,
where
just
there
such a
was
tragedy.
6 people perished in a murder-suicide.
Mass murder suicide. Yeah.
And so I would be remiss not to keep up with what Faye asked me to do. I know that Kathy and I have talked about it, and Kathy has some data as well. And
we'll get into that on Friday because there's some staggering, horrific data about kids because these were 2 19-year-olds, and we'll talk more about this, like you said, on Friday. These 2 brothers, young brothers, a year ago made this suicide pact that if things weren't better, my goodness, just imagine if they would have reached out to anybody, if somebody would have known to help them, this could have been avoided. And as a matter of fact, Nathaniel, in our email, I pulled up the National Suicide Lifeline. There's a phone number and a website. Also on that, they've got a text. Way you can text people. It's confidential. Nobody else has to know. I mean, if you're a young person, your parents don't have to know. If you've got a spouse, they don't have to know. But
just
reach out and get that help. Just please reach out. And yes, thank you, JP, for bringing that up.
So anyway, so Faye, important. That was for you. And then on Friday, we'll talk more about it.
Important.
Also on Friday, Kathy, we're going to talk a little bit about some fun I did. I poked the Facebook bear
Oh, not again.
Yes. Remember that meme you posted about this is what you need for your ID?
Oh, yeah.
And this is what you don't?
Oh, no, this is like if you're not racist, if you need an ID to rent a car, adopt a pet, blah, blah, blah. And it had like 25 things. And it said, but you are racist if you want to use your ID for voting purposes. I stole that from Desiree Brown, who's with the Collin County in the Texas YRs, in the national YRs, and she stole it from Kat, who is Kat Parks, who is the vice chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. I had to send it to you and Coach. And
well, I posted it.
Some people?
Oh, I did. I posted it and I said, okay.
Really?
A friend of mine sent this over. I said, so what do my liberal friends say?
Oh, no.
I've got a string going on with Brooks Anderson right now, and he and I are buddies.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and of course,
he's been on our show.
What I love on my string is that everybody on there says, man, I can't thank everybody enough for the good civil discussion. Like, everybody's respecting everybody, and we're getting our opinions out. And so now I've got to go do a bunch of research.
Which is the way it should be.
Because Brooks has challenged me to show him the research. So now I got to do that. And I've got to show him. I told him, I said, why is it that the Colorado law didn't become scrutinized like the Georgia law? Well, well, the Georgia law is much worse. I said, no, it's not. Colorado, and I didn't have time because I was in the middle of tribunals.
Right.
But one of the big ones, if you're listening, Brooks, this morning, is in Colorado, you have 17 days for early voting, but in Georgia, you only have 15. That's just one example of where you have more open voting. So we'll talk about that on Friday as well, and all of your comments, and thank you for that.
Yeah, we love this, and that'll be a big topic of discussion Friday. Even Lieutenant Governor Patrick yesterday during a press conference, which has gotten tons of attention, positive and negative, mentioned that early voting, there are going to be, or maybe during Election Day, there's going to during some time of early voting or election day, the polls will be open till 9 p.m. So that way, if you've got a job, you have to get home, get your kids fed, and then go vote. And I'm like,
it opens that up.
Yeah, but I'm like, what's constricting about that? I mean,
Well, yeah, and we'll get into this on Friday. There are so many interesting conversations. But I will say this, the city of Atlanta, they're burning themselves. They're on fire right now. And a lot of the businesses, minority businesses, are feeling the crunch and are not happy. But anyways, that's a Friday conversation.
It's very interesting. So, yeah, stay
tuned.
You
and we want to hear the
that.
peeps. See, I want us to stop talking.
I did.
Because you opened up the peeps.
I think we need to talk March Madness and do
and
this
I can
at the
smell
end.
them.
You know what? Can you smell? These are, okay, so my mom, I'm 54, it doesn't matter. My mom still gets me Peeps every year for Easter.
As she should. Good job, Mom.
And yay, Alta, love you. So
Good job, Mom.
she came up with these this year, and I'm like, wait, what? Hot tamale Peeps.
Yeah, there you go.
You guessed it. So I'm going to grab mine and send it over, but I'm afraid it may kind of take my breath away. And I've got bad sinuses today anyway, so I'm afraid I may not have a voice.
Man, stop. Oh.
See? That's so sad. That's
Don't
so
worry.
sad.
I can reach it.
If you play shuffleboard with me, it's entertaining. So we're going to try these after we talk a little March Madness.
Well, here's our pool.
And Michelle, again, we love Michelle from the Crew.
And she did this for us.
She hooked us up with this. She does this for us every year. Thank you. It was so much fun this year. I know we didn't have it last year, so that makes it twice as fun this year. But Michelle, thank you so much.
And Michelle, we apologize
awesome.
for driving you crazy and not pulling together a party on Monday, but
I know
just couldn't pull it together. Sorry, Michelle.
I know.
Our bad.
The game started too late for us on a school night. That's sad.
So, but how much fun?
Is too late.
How much fun is this? This is way fun. Are they able to see this, Nathaniel, or just us? Okay, here we go. So, why is this so much fun?
Because you won.
Oh, what do you say to that? Oh, my goodness. Boy, I didn't win a couple of years ago. Well, I did not win a couple of years ago. The randomness of Kathy knocked me way down.
Oh, and I don't know how that happened.
But what a great group of people. Thank you so much for participating.
Look how much fun this is.
But here's what you see in the top 9. All people who chose Baylor.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Well, and it's interesting because they kept saying, and we thought Gonzaga was going to be tough to beat. I will go down the rest of my life thinking this. Gonzaga never saw UCLA coming. Oh, JP can't wait. He's trying a hot tamale.
Oh, yeah.
UCLA, that game against Gonzaga.
Oh, yeah.
UCLA, they truly. I thought they had won the game. They had a chance at the very end, and then I thought, okay, at the end at the first overtime, I thought we're going into the second overtime, and I think UCLA is just going to blow past them because remember, you've got Gonzaga, who the whole season was never behind at halftime,
right.
And all of a sudden UCLA, they came out of nowhere. That is a team to watch. That is a coach that I texted you and coach immediately, and I said, if they have not already secured this coach for a lucrative long-term contract, they will be very shortly because he's got that team motivated, some superb players, and UCLA is just so fast. So I think what happened Monday night, and you truly did have the two best teams in basketball.
You did.
Baylor and Gonzaga, and everybody wanted to see this game. I think that Gonzaga never got their legs back after Saturday night against UCLA. And I will say that, but that Gonzaga shot at the buzzer at the end of the first overtime, that when he made it from practically half court, nothing but net, that will be on sports highlights from now until Kingdom Comes.
You know, you almost sound like a real sports broadcaster.
Oh, God. And
because you watched the games.
There you
Kathy
go.
watched the games.
They were so fun.
So I'm proud for you.
They were so fun. Well, like I said, before kids, this used to be my life. I followed the NCAA religiously. But then you have kids, and then you follow their things religiously.
Right.
And now my kids are like, Mom,
don't follow us religiously.
Yeah, like, please.
Back off.
Yeah, give us some space,
hey, lady, go away.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well, super cool. Loved it. Enjoyed the bracket. Enjoyed watching
so
the
much
bracket.
Fun.
I was able to win the bracket. Woo! That was fun.
And so, are you eligible for? We didn't even say what the winner won.
I don't even know.
Well, so who's second place?
Judd Gibson, right there with me the
then
whole way.
Maybe Judd comes in studio and we treat him to a cup of coffee.
Maybe that would be fun if we can get him off the cow farm.
Yeah, there you go.
Buy more beef.
Well, or Judd, we did, and
we
we'll
can
do
zoom
a
him in
plug.
from the
we'll
farm.
Zoom you in from the farm.
The
You
ranch.
do a plug for your company. How much fun was this?
But yeah, Judd did a great job as well. I mean, he and I picked almost as a mirror. There was one game difference picked.
And which game was that?
I can't remember. I'd have to go to the bracket. But
yeah, because y'all were literally almost identical.
And then Fred ended up coming in third.
Right.
Nathan finished fourth. Michael finished fifth to top out the top five. Now, here's the interesting part. Kathy didn't finish in last or near the bottom.
What?
She finished in eighth place. So there you go. And Bobby Ward, who had been in the top five forever, dropped down to number 12.
Because he picked U of H, which when I saw Baylor play, and I have, from the Phi Slamma Jamma days of Clyde Drexler, who Drexel's the reason I picked
I don't want to hear
go
this.
so
Move
far.
on. I'm dying. You're killing me.
Everybody knows the cat story.
You're killing me.
Clyde the Glide, my favorite NBA player.
I'm dying. Help me.
But he, I did have a sentimental pull towards U of H, so we were a little bit of a house divided. But when Baylor just took off and they were dominating by 20 points the majority of the game, I was like, wow, let's see how Gonzaga does, because that Baylor team can't be stopped. And it's such a great story with Coach Drew and how and how he's brought that team together. I think, when was he hired? Like the early 2000s.
Right.
Remember, and we had talked about this on the show, the murder that one of the Baylor basketball players had, and literally, like, they lost their team. Everybody went to other colleges. They couldn't recruit. So what he has done in relatively a short amount of time to bring Baylor to win their first and the only second Texas school to win an NCAA championship was amazing. And another cool thing, I think it was like 16 years ago, that the Lady Baylor Bears, and I agree with the senator, they should have been in the championship too.
They were jacked.
They were robbed against UConn, who didn't even make it in the end. But anyways, they had won on that same basketball court 16 years. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. Prior. So emotional. God bless Baylor, sick 'em Bears, just so excited. So excited
if
for
you
them.
will, Nathaniel, please click on my bracket and let's look at the travel of the Baylor Bears.
Yeah.
They're on the right-hand side. So they took Hartford on at number 16, won that game easily, 79-55. Then Wisconsin comes out of the bracket with North Carolina. Baylor wins that game 76-63. Never really a close game there. Baylor's next challenge is Villanova. Villanova comes out of the Winthrop bracket to play North Texas, surprisingly. I had picked Purdue. Purdue loses. Handles Villanova pretty handily as well. Villanova, of course, got to give them a break. Their starting player went down. They really didn't have their stars. So
that was a tough pill to swallow.
So Baylor wins that 62-51. Then Baylor goes off and plays Arkansas. Now this game was a bit of a challenge throughout the pace of the game, but then of course
it was competitive.
But Baylor goes on and wins that game 81-72. Interestingly enough, Arkansas drops off Texas Tech 68-66.
See, and I was hoping Texas Tech would have still,
it would have been fun to have a Baylor-Texas Tech game.
Oh, it would have been a blast.
That would have been fun. Of course, Oral Roberts, the big shocker throughout the tournament.
They were the Cinderella team.
Well, UCLA.
Well, but what's funny is UCLA says, no, we weren't. We knew we were good, and we knew we would be here.
Well,
so I thought that was interesting. They took that narrative
But
for
the rest of the pundits didn't, though. So you were the Cinderella. Nice try. We appreciate you, but you're the Cinderella, whether you like it.
Story.
Yeah, like it or not, that's where you were put, Bubba. And so Baylor makes that. Baylor beats Arkansas 81-72. If you'll drive down to the Final Four, Baylor then plays Houston, and Houston had been on fire. Great basketball program, and Baylor made them look like they were playing the Pee Wee Adventure League. Baylor smokes them 78-59, not even close.
Yeah.
And then here comes UCLA at number 11 to take on Gonzaga. And again, what a basketball game
that was. And I think you were listening to it on the radio.
I was on the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the radio.
And so Coach and JP and I we were texting during all of March Madness. Quite frankly. I was texting y'all at the end, and I was texting Hayden Pageant, who's the chairman of the Texas Wires, is a UCLA grad. I busted his chops. So I was pulling for Michigan, but UCLA really showed up, and I was texting him as well. Nobody saw UCLA coming, and I will say this: as long as I've been following the NCAA and March Madness, I mean, we're going back into the late '80s, and that's by far the best NCAA basketball game I've seen is that Gonzaga UCLA game. It was edge of your seat
basketball.
the entire time.
Agreed.
But
Gonzaga comes off an emotional win with UCLA. And of course, the experts are on different sides on this. Some say, coming off that win with UCLA, took their legs out from under them. It was their emotional high.
Well, they were exhausted. Nobody played them like that the whole tournament.
But here's the deal, though, right? That's exactly it. Nobody played them like that the whole tournament. UCLA had to play like that every game.
Single game they had to bring it.
So, and here's the thing. I just can't give Gonzaga the out on that deal because they really are a professional program in an amateur sport. And they
look at the majority of the time.
There's no way that Gonzaga wasn't ready to go. There's no way that Gonzaga wasn't geared up for Baylor. That's where the eye has been on Baylor the whole time.
Right.
And so you have the matchup everybody's been talking about all year long. Gonzaga gets in there, and here's what happens. Baylor defended you and put it on you.
Baylor's defense and offense. And we always talk about how important defense is. That you couldn't touch them with their defense. You couldn't touch them with their offense.
Well, they were hot. They were hitting all
and
pistons.
They were playing as such a true team.
And it's like I've said.
It was beautiful.
It's like I text you and Coach. It's way good.
Of a bite.
It's way good.
Actually, this may be one of the better ones.
No, I didn't get a bite now, but mine was good flavored.
I can breathe. So.
Oh, well, interesting.
It's clearing up my sinuses.
So, but the fun part about this game is that, again, I told Kathy and Coach, this runs off of momentum and runs.
Yep.
Gonzaga had one little run, and that was it. They got within 9 points, and then Baylor blew it back open to a 16-point lead. And so Baylor kept the momentum the entire game.
Baylor, hands down, deserves to be the champs, the national champs.
So congratulations to Waco and Baylor University.
Sick 'em Bears.
All right, and thank you for everybody participating in the pool. That was a lot of fun to watch and talk about.
Fun.
Yeah,
we're ready for March Madness next year.
I'm ready for baseball.
Oh,
opening day was yesterday.
Yeah.
So, get ready Friday for some baseball
My
talk.
brother was out there yesterday, of course,
and
I was like, hey, I was like, get a Fletcher's corn dog.
No, get a boomstick. Get the boomstick. Or get the $47 chicken nugget or whatever that was.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the Fletcher's Corny Dog's a little more affordable at probably $12
Yeah,
a corn dog.
So we are starting to hear the music. It means it's time for us to start heading out the door.
Yeah. And one thing about, I did borrow my husband's Baylor hat today. If you've seen me fidgeting, boy, howdy. You know what? Boys' baseball caps, they don't have a ponytail hole.
Go figure.
Yeah, JP's like, and that's shocking. That's news, Kathy.
Go figure.
We love y'all.
They
We're
wear
glad
their
to be
mullets
back.
under their hat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Party in the back.
Well, we're so glad. We hope y'all had a blessed Easter. We're so happy to be back with y'all and just have
Lots of topics on Friday.
Tons to talk about on
mental
Friday
health
as well.
with our adolescents and what's going on there with teen suicide and some of the things you might be able to do to prevent. What the government's done. They've got an app that you can download. That's interesting.
Yeah,
and so we're going to talk about that as well.
Also, Cleo has produced a segment for us. Names of mascots being changed left and right, and now trees are offensive.
Yeah.
What? Okay, and
but
you know
tamale
what?
peeps are not.
Thanks, Mom. If you have a spare
Alta
box,
did good.
JP's wanting them. You know what? You can have CJ's. He's like
good.
me. He's like, Mom. He's like, yeah, I stopped eating those when I was 4.
Oh, not me.
So you can have CJ's box.
Thank you, CJ. Everybody have a blessed day. We'll see you on Friday.
Love y'all.